आपने कहा था कि I will never do a sex comedy again.
I will not call Masti for a sex comedy. I will call it a naughty, fun comedy.
When you saw the recent onslaught against animal,
Mr. Sandeep Vanga Reddy has just, thrown everything out of the window and genuinely delivered a masterpiece, if you ask me.
certain criticism that is coming about the violent scenes and the lovemaking scenes.
It's all clickbait articles and clickbait journalism, right? It really doesn't matter. उन critics को मालूम है कि उनकी वैल्यू वर्ड की वैल्यू किसको पसंद है.
रितेश के साथ में ये जो आपने एक्सपेरिमेंट किया है हमेशा,
Ritesh is I would say my best friend in this industry. Hi, this is Milap Zaveri and you're watching Connect Cine with Faridoon. Stay connected.
मिलाप ज़वेरी, वेलकम ऑन कनेक्ट सिने. कैसे हैं आप?
Great, Faridoon. Great to see you. Great to talk to you again. I hope you're doing great.
अमेजिंग, फैंटास्टिक. ऑलराइट, सो मिलाप, मैं आपका एक इंटरव्यू देख रहा था, अभी पढ़ रहा था इनफैक्ट 2018 का, और आपने कहा था कि आई विल नेवर डू अ सेक्स कॉमेडी अगेन एंड आई एम डन विद दैट जॉनरा. लेकिन अभी आप मस्ती 4 आप डायरेक्ट करने वाले हैं, तो ये चेंज ऑफ हार्ट कैसे हुआ, या फिर मस्ती 4 इज समथिंग एल्स दैट मे बी वी स्टिल डोंट नो अबाउट?
Well, Faridoon, I had made that statement. And honestly, Masti 4 is, I would not call it a sex comedy. मस्ती 4 के साथ फरीदून वी आर अटेम्प्टिंग टू गो बैक टू द ओजी मस्ती जो 2004 में इत्तेफाक से 20 years back. This is 20 years of Masti 1 this year, and now we are starting Masti 4 exactly 20 years later. Masti 4 is not a sex comedy. Masti 4 is a naughty, mad entertainer comedy. The greatest compliment Indra Kumar sir gave me when he heard the script was that तूने मस्ती को भी धमाल की तरह लिखा है. This was his exact statement.
इंटरेस्टिंग.
Because now me, Indu ji, Ashok ji, Amar Jhunjhunwala sir, Shikha, Ritesh, Vivek, Aftab, we all were of the point of view that there is no need to be excessively vulgar and sexual in a comedy now. The world has opened up, OTT has come in, internet is so many platforms, and enough is being done. Like when the original Masti, Grand Masti and all came, तब ये सब access नहीं था लोगों के पास. That time the shock value worked and was necessary. But now nothing shocks anyone anymore, right? So there's no need for us to be vulgar or to be shocking. I can promise audiences this, they will have a great time laughing their hearts out. Even families will enjoy. There is nothing offensive in Masti 4. There's nothing overtly vulgar. So I will not call Masti for a sex comedy. I will call it a naughty, fun comedy. An entertainer that will almost make you nostalgic for part one, which came out 20 years back.
पार्ट वन में एक आई थिंक और बहुत आई थिंक खासियत थी कि द म्यूजिक म्यूजिक वाज फैंटास्टिक. म्यूजिक, उसके जो गाने हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा पॉपुलर हो गए थे, इवन इवन वक्त के साथ में और ज्यादा पॉपुलर होते चले गए थे, स्पेशली द रोमांटिक वंस. एंड आई थिंक दिल दे दिया समथिंग दैट बिकेम लाइक अ कल्ट सॉर्ट ऑफ आई थिंक सॉन्ग. स्टिल पीपल लव इट. सो म्यूजिक पे कुछ खास ध्यान देंगे अगर आप मस्ती वन की बात कर रहे हैं? वुड यू बी वर्किंग स्पेशली हार्ड ऑन म्यूजिक
Yeah,
एज
yeah,
वेल?
of course. We have already started the process of working on the music, and the thought is to get again entertaining, catchy, foot tapping music. That can make people smile also, same time groove and dance to the beats. Like you rightly said, Masti One had great iconic music. Induji has always had fabulous music in his all his movies. He's gifted with an ear for great music. So obviously in Masti 4 also, I'm very lucky to have Induji by my side as a mentor, as a guide, because he's the OG director of the series. First of all, it's such a privilege that he's first time in his career, he's giving the reins of a franchise of his to someone else to direct. तो अपना बच्चा वो
राइट.
एक्चुअली किसी और को की गोद में दे रहे. सो द वी आर वर्किंग वेरी हार्ड ऑन द म्यूजिक एंड आई कैन होप दैट द म्यूजिक विल बी as entertaining and as fun and foot tapping as part one had.
और आई थिंक इंदू जी की खासियत तो ये है कि आई थिंक जिस तरीके से वो अपने को रीइन्वेंट किया है उन्होंने, जिस जिस डायरेक्टर ने बेटा बनाई, दिल बनाई, और उसके बाद फिर जिस तरीके से उन्होंने धमाल सीरीज और उसके अलावा ये मस्ती की सीरीज जिस तरीके से उन्होंने बनाई है, आई थिंक वो एक अपने आप में एक रिमार्केबल उनकी एक अचीवमेंट है। सो आप कैसे, and दिखते बड़े यंग हैं, ही looks very
Arey,
very young
he's. I
still.
keep telling him he should launch himself. He's younger than all of us, you know. And Induji has this
Mhm.
amazing positivity, never say die attitude. He has this one takya kalam कि he says मिलाप हम उनमें से है जो ऊपर जाकर भी एक और फिल्म तो बना ही लेंगे. That is the jazba that Induji has. And in fact, the other day we were at some trailer launch or something, and you'll be surprised. A girl came up to Induji and me. She was, I think, Indian American or British, I'm not sure. And she's come to Induji and me and she said, I'm such a fan of Masti and Grand Masti. So Induji looked at me laughing and he's saying, what a coincidence that, हम कल announce कर रहे हैं और आज someone at random has come and said this to us. And he's saying, मैंने दिल, बेटा, राजा, इश्क, धमाल सब बनाई लेकिन लोग आके मुझसे मस्ती की बात करते. So that just shows how much, Masti has entertained audiences over the last 20 years. So, yeah, as I said, Induji is Sada Bahar, always young, dynamic, and, I have to sometimes keep up to his energy. And it's such a pleasure working with him. Like when he calls you on the phone, also his first line is, क्या मजे ले रहा है मिलाप. सो हिज फर्स्ट लाइन ओनली इज क्या मजे ले रहा है. जो आदमी ऐसी बात पूछता है पहले सेंटेंस में ही, तो आप सोच सकते हो कि वो कितना मजा लेते हैं जिंदगी से.
नहीं, and I think बहुत ही यूनिक सी एबिलिटी है उनकी, टू गेट सर्टन, आई थिंक सर्टन, आई थिंक परफॉर्मेंसेस फ्रॉम हिज एक्टर्स, जो कि मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ही सरप्राइजिंग भी रहता है. अगर अगर आपको तो पता ही होगा, 90s में, 90s में आई थिंक गोविंदा साहब का कोई कोई वो नहीं था. आई थिंक देयर वाज नो कॉम्पिटिटर फॉर गोविंदा व्हेन इट केम टू कॉमेडी. एंड मुझे याद है कि आज भी के रिव्यूज आते थे निकत काजमी और इन लोगों के, और उसमें आमिर खान को कहा जाता था कि साहब, जिस तरीके के कॉमेडी कॉमिक टाइमिंग अगर अगर गोविंदा के बाद किसी की है, तो वो आमिर खान की है. एंड दैट इज समथिंग जो अजय देवगन और आमिर खान जो को जो साथ में लेकर आए हैं वो. और जो आमिर का जो जो आई थिंक आइकॉनिक सा एक जो डायलॉग था, मरा मरा मरा, जो उसमें जब वो जा रहे, सो आई थिंक वो एक उस तरीके का एक एलिमेंट लेके आ पाना है ऐसे ऐसे एक्टर्स में. इवन इश्क में जो कॉमिक टाइमिंग तलाश करी थी, बहुत कमाल की थी. Do you find it very interesting that the way he can get certain elements out of actors which are surprising?
Yeah, you'll be surprised, and not many people know Faridun that Induji originally was an actor in Gujarati films. Everyone
Right,
knows he's Aruna Irani ma'am's brother. He was a
right.
comic actor. He was a comedian in Gujarati cinema before he became a filmmaker. So he is actually the best actor amongst everybody. In fact, Ritesh often tells me that when Induji acts out a scene, on set, they just can't stop laughing because he's so good. And their half their job is done when Induji explains the scene and acts it out how he wants them to do the comedy and how he wants them to have the timing and say the punchline. So as I said, it's a big legacy, Faridun, that I have to live up to. But also, once many years back, Ritesh had told me when I narrate when Masti 1 had released. He had told me, I really loved your narration, as in my narration when I narrated Masti 1 to him. And he said, in my performance, I did use quite a few nuances, from what you did when you narrated the script. So I feel every director sometimes has to be some sort of an actor. Although Ritesh often says that I'm a very bad actor, as in me. He says, please to acting karke mat dikha. But Induji has that quality, of explaining to his actors what a scene needs. And it's something I also have learned from, and hopefully I can emulate the same thing in Masti 4. So I mean, I could not show John Abraham how to tear the tire. वो चीज मुझसे नहीं हो सकी. लेकिन आई कैन एटलीस्ट direct and tell the actors on how the comic punches should be delivered, and especially since I've written the script also and the dialogue also. So yeah, I mean, it's great to learn from Induji, and all those learnings, मैं एक पूड़ी बांध के मैं अपने पास रख रहा हूँ, ताकि जब भी सेट पे जरूरत पड़ेगी आगे जाके वो पूड़ी खोलूंगा मैं और एक इंदुजी का नुस्खा निकाल कर मैं उसको यूज करूंगा.
राइट. सो आई थिंक हमने हमेशा डिस्कस किया है इसके बारे में कि दैट बहुत ही, आई थिंक लोगों को एक हैरत होती है, बहुत सरप्राइज एक एलिमेंट होता है कि दैट आपने फिल्में आपने करी हैं जिसमें एक खासा नॉटी एलिमेंट होता है फिल्मों के अंदर। लेकिन जो जो भी आपको रियल लाइफ में जानते हैं वो उनको अंदाजा है कि दैट आप कितने ज्यादा सीधे साधे और शरीफ आप इंसान हैं। लेकिन ये आप ये बहुत ही कंट्रास्टिंग सा पर्सनालिटी आपका है। मुझे याद है कि मस्ती ज़ादे का की शूटिंग हो रही थी, मैं भी था इनफैक्ट थाईलैंड में, पटाया में, एंड आई वाज देयर ऑन द सेट्स। एंड आप जिस तरीके से तुषार कपूर को आप जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस दे रहे थे, आंखों में हवस ला, आंखों में हवस ला, मतलब आई वाज लाइक दिस
फरीदून
इज
फरीदून
हिलेरियस।
एक बहुत फेमस लाइन है अल्ताफ राजा के गाने तुम तो ठहरे परदेसी में, कि तुमको क्या
जी।
बताऊं अब हाल दूसरा है, वो साल दूसरा था ये साल दूसरा है। अब ऐसी चीजें मैं सेट पे किसी से नहीं कहूंगा, स्पेशली मस्ती फोर में तो नहीं कहूंगा। आई हैव ऑल्सो इवॉल्व एंड मच्योर्ड ओवर द years. Since then, Satyameva Jayate has come, Marjava has come, which gave me a different trajectory also as a filmmaker. So it was refreshing now to go back to a comedy like Masti. And as I said at the start of our conversation, uh, Masti 4 is nowhere near Grand Masti or such films or Masti Zade. It is genuinely not an offensive or a vulgar film. It is a very very funny film. Of course naughtiness होगी, मस्ती का तड़का तो जरूर होगा जैसे पार्ट वन में था, लेकिन उतना ही होगा। तो ऐसी लाइनें आप यू विल नॉट एवर हियर मी सेइंग दीज थिंग्स ऑन सेट टू एनी ऑफ द एक्टर्स, बिकॉज दैट्स नॉट व्हाट मस्ती फोर इज अबाउट।
No, I think, but you said it in a very innocent way. That is what I was trying to say.
हाँ,
And it's because many a times directors they can be I think in real life as well they can be rather playful as well. But you're a completely different person altogether. आपने एक certain चीजों के बारे में आपने बहुत ही vocally आपने बात करी है कि किस तरीके से at times जो filmmakers हैं they tend to become conscious, or they're made to feel conscious because of the way their films are judged. And that journey for you has continued. Now, when you saw the recent I think onslaught against Animal, for example, do you feel that maybe the clock is has still not moved, and somehow it's very difficult for filmmakers to really come up with something new at the level of screenplay? I spoke to Ram Gopal Verma sahab, and he basically praised the screenplay, that you have to look at this film from a screenplay point of view. But there are people who did not even see the film, and they were criticizing out of context scenes. Do you think that journey still continues?
Faridun, till art remains, there will always be criticism. There will always be naysayers and people who applaud it. According to me, Indian cinema will genuinely now be known as before Animal and after Animal. Like literally,
Mm.
I have never seen a film that throws out every rule of filmmaking so confidently and so brilliantly as Animal. We are taught every film has a beginning, middle, and end. We are taught that the hero should always be just, proper, righteous. We are taught so many things about edit pattern and screenplay writing. And Mr. Sandeep Vanga Reddy has just thrown everything out of the window and genuinely delivered a masterpiece. If you ask me, there are a lot of criticisms about it being anti-feminist and too macho and etc and toxic or whatever. But if you ask me, I saw the film in a cinema with my wife, and there was no point at any point in the film where we felt uncomfortable. In fact, we were riveted to the screen. I genuinely believe it's one of the greatest films made in our country, Animal. And for those who didn't like it and didn't understand it or didn't appreciate it, I mean, they are welcome to their opinion. I feel every person is welcome to their opinion. But long as your opinion doesn't stop people from going to the theater. And honestly, I feel Faridun, the audience has now become desensitized to criticism. They really don't care what anyone says as long as they want to watch a film. If they are excited by the trailer, songs of a movie, they will go irrespective of anyone saying anything. Matlab, if someone tells them this is the greatest film in the world, but they have not liked the trailer, they will not go for the film. Someone tells them it's the worst film in the world, but they have liked the trailer, they will go for the film. So, like time immemorial, eventually it's the audience who's the biggest critic, or who's the who make up their mind and as individuals they decide what they want to do, and we can only try and influence them in a positive way to get into the theater with our marketing and our material, but eventually it's their decision, right? I feel a film is made or broken on its trailer level. If the trailer and the marketing publicity works, an audience comes into the theater. You may be the biggest star or you may be a newcomer. It doesn't matter as long as your trailer hits home. And most films which don't open well or don't, get an audience in, one of the main reasons is that the trailer has not excited people. So I give an example. I was watching Article 370 the other day with my wife, and I loved the film. And in the uh, before the film, they the trailer of Lapata Ladies played. Now, see, it's a small film with no big star cast, but there was a giggle echoing throughout the theater between the audience. They were laughing, especially at Ravi Kishan sir's punches in the trailer.
He is
My wife,
hilarious. He is
he's
hilarious.
apparently hilarious, and he's a great actor.
I've watched the film. It's a fantastic
Oh,
film.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So my wife looked at me and said, "I want to see this movie." So she didn't care that Amir sir had produced it or Kiran ma'am had directed it. She didn't care that there was no star cast. She saw the trailer in the theater and said, "I want to see this movie." So there is no greater vindication of anything than an audience. So whoever has an issue with Animal, God bless them, and whoever loves Animal, God bless them also.
Considering that like Masti 4 is coming, and obviously there will be some fun and games in that. Now, what has happened is that I was speaking to Komal Nata Sahab, and like both of us, we were discussing the fact that we have never come across a movie that polarizes the audiences so much. Either people are loving the film, like say Animal, for example, people have watched it 10 times, or there are people who are just simply disgusted with it whatsoever. Interestingly, the certain criticism that is coming about the violent scenes and the lovemaking scenes, for example, some people they're having certain issues with that, while other people they feel that both the action sequences and the lovemaking sequences they have been choreographed beautifully. The music is outstanding, both the background as well as the songs. They're absolutely outstanding. So, you know, how does and जो उसमें जो एक इंटेंसिटी दिखाई गई है लव मेकिंग सीन्स में, वो बेसिकली एक मोहब्बत की इंतहा है. अब एक डायरेक्टर जो है वो अगर एक सर्टेन एनवलप पुश करना चाहता है कीपिंग द एस्थेटिक्स इन माइंड, how does he do it without not being conscious of the fact that there may be someone who may be just panning him left, right, and center and just casting aspersions and judging him?
Well, yaar, whoever find the violence too much or whatever, but y'all they watch everything on OTT. आज आप मिर्जापुर ले लो या आप there's so many shows online where there's even violence, there is love making. Yeah, these are all clickbait articles and clickbait journalism, right? It really doesn't matter eventually, and also it's pseudo intellectualism, right? The same people will applaud when there's a love-making scene in Oppenheimer, right? But when Oppenheimer cheats on his wife and etc. etc. all of that they will love. But when it happens in an Indian film, they have issues. Really, it's a vicious cycle of a debate. It's like a maze. It will never end, right? People who love it are going to love it. Who have issues वो भी छुप छुप के देख ही लेंगे बाद में, और बाद में करे बोलेंगे अरे यार ये तो ऐसा था वैसा था, लेकिन देखते तो सब है. So genuinely, I think this has always eventually been the choice of an audience, Faridun. Like nothing, all of this is just noise that is created around, and it's just being pseudo. Like there's so many English publications or platforms which go gaga over Hollywood cinema, right? But when it comes to our cinema, they have got so many issues, and they find everything uncool, and they find it objectionable, and they find it offensive. But वही चीज है जब आप हॉलीवुड की फिल्मों में या फॉरेन फिल्मों में देखते हो, आप वाह वाह करते हो, तो इट्स जस्ट रबिश. आई थिंक दे आर ऑल्सो प्लेइंग टू देयर टारगेट ऑडियंस, राइट? उन क्रिटिक्स को मालूम है कि
Hmm.
उनकी वैल्यू, वर्ड की वैल्यू किसको पसंद है, और उन लोगों को खुश करने वो दे behave that way, they talk that way. So I just like it's best to just wear blinkers, do your work, look straight, and do your work honestly, and that's all that matters.
Right. So in fact, Sandeep told me that before the release of Animal, so he was being approached by a critic and for an interview, and he did not respond. He did not do the interview, and when the film came in, so the review was not favorable. At the same time, like recently, we have seen what Vidyut has tweeted about that he was a bribe was asked for him for his movie Crack, and he did not comply with that. How do you look at this sort of I think activities which are going on in terms of that somewhere the art is being, I think, compromised.
See, Faridun, my only thing on it is right. Everyone is in the same boat, right? Today, there is a certain marketing budget that is used also for media, right? It is some see, it all started, if you ask me, when MediaNet also began, right? When we had to pay
Mm.
to have our articles or our stories published in the papers, and everyone accepted it, right? The industry accepted it, and we just went ahead with it. Today, my point is that every single person out here, okay, everyone is trying to earn a livelihood, earn a living. Every single person, right? Either you're okay with that or you're not okay with that. That is up to you. As far as the Vidyut matter, I don't really know the intricate details about what must have transpired at that point of time. Okay, so I am really no one to comment on it, right? I think the two gentlemen involved should, trash it out and whatever they want to do about it. But I just believe that this entire see, it's a always it has stood the test of time. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right? So yeah, sometimes what happens is when a critic is shown a film in advance before someone else, most of the time they are excited by that and they automatically feel that they should give a favorable review. Sometimes suppose a critic or a person feels that, oh, I have not been given enough importance, it irritates them, and they lash out at the filmmaker. So it's, as I said, it's a maze. You can't really escape it, right? You Sometimes an ex individual is in your good books, or you're in their good books. Sometimes it's Y, sometimes it's Z, right? So there's really this is what we have done to ourselves as an industry, right? The moment we started paying for journalism, paying for articles, paying for MediaNet, etc., etc. This is what we have chosen it, and there's nothing wrong about it or right about it. It's a business decision, right? Uh, of late, there are these whispers about corporate booking and all also. So filmmakers look at it as a type of marketing, because it's a marketing tool to create buzz about the film and get people to the theater, etc., etc. So I just think there's nothing that happens in this industry that this industry doesn't uh, pioneer on their own. We pioneer everything, and then we feel suddenly, yeah, oh shit, we've pioneered this, and now what do we do? How do we get out of it? So it's eventually it's us to blame or to applaud. We are responsible either way.
All right, and now Aftab Shivdasani is going to be a part of your film. He was there in Masti, Masti 2, Masti 3. I spoke to Aftab during pandemic, and we had like a long chat about the fact that a very promising actor, very good actor, but maybe somehow he has not got his due. And we spoke at length about it. Are you excited to direct Aftab once again?
Yeah, I am. I'm so excited. I was just chatting with him yesterday when the news broke. It was crazy. The buzz was so exciting. People were so happy that the film part four is coming.
Mm,
And after that, we chatted a lot. And genuinely, if you ask me, Masti cannot be made without Ritesh, Vivek, and Aftab. All three of them. All three of them have a unique
mm,
contribution to the film, to the series. Aftab especially is also very famous for his friends. I have an idea, which he does in every मस्ती. हर मस्ती में जो आइडिया होता है
mm,
मस्ती करने का, वो आफ्ताब के थ्रू आता है. और हमेशा ये लोग पिटते,
mm,
प्रॉब्लम में गिरते, और हर फिल्म में रितेश और विवेक आफ्ताब की बैंड बजाते कि तेरे आइडिया की वजह से हम इस सिचुएशन में फंस गए. So Aftab is actually the fulcrum of Masti in a way, right? And honestly, he's one of the most funny actors. He has such great comic timing. Whether it's been Avara Pagal Divana, whether it's been Love Ke Liye Kuch Bhi Karega, whether it's been the Masti series, like he's
mm.
hilarious and he's really funny. And I really hope that with Masti 4 once more, he gets accolades and he rocks and he does well. He's a great human being, and he genuinely deserves, way more credit and due than he's gotten till today. And the best part about these three now, Faridun, is that they are such good friends off camera also. Ritesh, Vivek, and
Yeah.
Aftab, and they've kept that friendship and that bond intact. There is no competition between them. There is no insecurity between them. Like each of them are there for they almost like the three musketeers, not musketeers. That's what the three of them are. And if you'll see any of the films, you'll see Ritesh, wanting Aftab to get a great line, Aftab wanting Vivek to get a great line, Vivek wanting the other two to do well. It's just an amazing camaraderie, and it's very rare to see three male actors have such a great equation. If I'm not wrong, they still are part of a group, on WhatsApp. That's the three of them since years. Uh, till today they have that connection with one another, and I'm telling you, whenever they three come together, it's going to be pandemonium, it's going to be madness. So I really hope for, see, Ritesh is a superstar. He's, I mean, not only Hindi but even Marathi cinema. Like you asked me, Wade is one of the greatest films I've seen by a debutant director. And Vivek is rocking also. He's done so well right now with Indian Police Force also. Rohit Shetty sir's show, and Vivek is also doing great stuff even in his business. And I really wish Aftab also rocks beautifully with Masti. And Sabka Bhala ho is picture se. All of them, and honestly, I live up to their expectations and their faith. Like they all three have shown a lot of faith in saying yes to the film with me as a director. And I must give credit to Ritesh a lot also for this, because he was one of the champions of my case. Like, he was the one, I think, who told Induji that Milap would be a great person to direct Masti for. So this faith that Ritesh, Aftab, Vivek, Induji, Ashokji, Amar sir, Shikha, all of them have shown in me. I'm really excited, and if with this film anyone's trajectory becomes better, also mine, because I am also coming off a film that didn't do well, a film that failed at the box office. So I also have a lot to prove. I also have a lot to. Lot to do, and a lot of what do you call a lot to live up to, not only others expectations but also my own expectations regarding myself.
All right, now you're speaking about Ritesh Deshmukh. Ritesh Deshmukh, मुझे लगता है आई थिंक ही इज वन ऑफ द विटिएस्ट एक्टर्स दैट वी हैव। आई थिंक हाजिर जवाबी की आई थिंक जो जो एक मिसाल है वो आई थिंक गैर गैर मामूली है। लेकिन आपने जिस तरीके से उनको उनको इमेजिन किया है अपार्ट फ्रॉम कॉमिक आई थिंक रोल्स के अलावा, एक विलन की अगर बात करें, मरजावा की बात करें, यू इमेजिन्ड हिम वेरी वेरी डिफरेंटली एज वेल, एंड दे हैव वर्कड वेरी नाइसली फॉर हिम एज वेल। ऑब्वियसली यू बीन पार्ट ऑफ हे बेबी, आपकी जो पहली फिल्म थी जाने कहाँ से आई है, उसमें डायरेक्ट किया था आपने 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 रितेश को। रितेश के साथ में ये जो आपने एक्सपेरिमेंट किया है हमेशा, how do you look at this particular aspect? Because when his filmography will be discussed, maybe say 10 years down the line, this variety will surely come in handy for him as well.
Well, Faridun, Ritesh is I would say my best friend in this industry. Okay, I call him Sethji, which in English translates to boss. Okay, he is the nicest, warmest, amazing human being possible. He's almost family, Genelia, him, for me and my wife Gauri, for my son Mehan. His kids are close to us. Uh, I automatically always, when I write something for Ritesh or I vision something for Ritesh, I always automatically I try to do my best. When and Mohit, if you ever talk to Mohit Suri, he will confirm with you, when Ek Villain casting was being discussed, I was the one who told Mohit that we should go to Ritesh. And he said, why Ritesh? I said, because Ritesh's image is not anything like the character in Villain. I said, because Ritesh is such a nice human being on camera and off camera कि लोग बिलीव ही नहीं कर पाएंगे कि वो विलेन है, और वो हिल जाएंगे. It'll be the casting coup of this film if Ritesh comes on board in this role, and plays this common man who actually is a serial killer. And so Ritesh actually told me jokingly, "तुझे लगता है मैं serial killer हूँ? That's what you think about me." I said, "No, it's not that." I said, "I just felt it's something. You're such a good actor, and you're only being applauded for your humor and your comic timing. This facet of your dramatic acting needs to be seen." Similarly, during Marjava, the first actor to be spoken to in any of the roles of Marjava was Ritesh Deshmukh. So initially, when I was not also supposed to be directing the film, there was someone else we were trying to get to direct the film. But the actor we first approached was was Ritesh for Vishnu's character, because our point was nobody can play Vishnu the way Ritesh Deshmukh can. Honestly, when Siddharth also came on board, I was very excited because I had Siddharth and Ritesh, as the pair for Marjava, and they were such a successful pair after Ekvillain. And I was almost, there was a point when it looked like maybe Ritesh could not be able to do the film or something, and I was really like on tenterhooks because I was like, the most important casting of this film is Ritesh Deshmukh. He really needs to be in this movie, and Touchwood, he did it. And if you seen Marjava, like it could have easily been a caricature or a spoofy kind of role because he's vertically challenged, but Ritesh played him with a swag के मतलब कमीनेपन की हाइट 3 फुट. That is Ritesh's line. Ritesh came up with that line. That's not my line. And there was one more line he came up with कि बंदूक कितनी भी बड़ी क्यों ना हो, says जान लेने वाली गोली तो छोटी होती है. That also is Ritesh's line. And he was just like a mini Gabbar, when he played the swag he played the role with. Yeah, he is such a
Yeah.
talented actor. And if you see Wade, right, what a performance as I mean, first to direct such a film, with yourself and your wife, produce it, distribute it. I mean, hats off to him. And you see his performance in Wade. Genelia took away all the accolades. Rightly so, the people went berserk on Genelia and Wade. I still remember theater mein people shouting "Vaini, Vaini" when she comes on screen because she's just so lovable and amazing. And Bichara Ritesh was little overshadowed, I feel. Everybody came out going gaga over Genelia's performance. And actually, Ritesh was as brilliant as Genelia in the film. But honestly, I think it's a wonderful gift by him to Genelia, the role in Wade. I mean, he went all out for his wife, and I mean, honestly, he did a phenomenal job. So I just think he's such a multifaceted actor. Now, again, he's playing a important dramatic part, I think, in Raid too with Ajay sir. I'm really excited to see him do that also. He's playing Shivaji, which is wow. It is the dream role, his dream role that he's finally directing and he's portraying. So yeah, he's such a multifaceted actor that it's great to see him, do all these kind of roles. And honestly, Faridun, I will always try and write different roles for him. I would love to always do comedy with him, like in Masti 4. But I'd also like to write different kind of roles for him because I feel he's an actor who can pull off anything.
Right. Okay. And what about the actresses in Masti 4?
So we are still locking that. Once we lock everyone, then Touchwood we'll share it with the world. But that is still under process.